Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupa Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Ramchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindhuvyevacha Patitanam Pavanivyo Vaishnavevyo Namo Namaha Dayai Tulasidevyaya Priyayai Kesavasyacha Krishna Bhakti Pradidevi Satyavatya Namo Namaha Sakala Vaishnava Parimora Namaskar Ite Kichua Parada Nahuka Amara Oya Chinubim Prabhujato Vaktajan Bandana Koryami Shavara Charana Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sarshi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Dandavat and good morning, dear devotees. It's such a fortune to be here trying to do this service of reading. Srila Didi right now is flying to Thailand. Srila Didi is flying to Thailand right now, along with Sudarshan Prabhu and family. And they're going to be gone for 3 weeks, maybe 1 month. In the meantime, we're going to continue our readings on Chaitanya Charitamrta here at Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mission, Utah. And we're going to pray to try to do this service without any offenses. That being said, let's begin. Jai Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Ki Jai. Jai Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Sri Chaitanya Charitamrta Ki Jai. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. We're going to read text 63. Babad Vida Bhagavatas Tirtha Bhuttas Vayam Vibo Tirti Kurvanti Tirtani Svantahastena Gadabirta. Translation. Saints of your caliber are themselves places of pilgrimage. Because of their purity, they are constant companions of the Lord. And therefore, they can purify even the places of pilgrimage. By the way, we're reading Sri Chaitanya Charitamrta, Adi Lila, Volume 1. Purport. This verse was spoken by Maharaja Yudhishthira to Vidura in Srimad Bhagavatam. Maharaja Yudhishthira was receiving his saintly uncle Vidura, who had been visiting sacred places of pilgrimage. Maharaja Yudhishthira told Vidura that pure devotees like him are personified holy places because the Supreme Personality of Godhead is always with them in their hearts. By their association, sinful persons are freed from sinful reactions, and therefore, wherever a pure devotee goes, is a sacred place of pilgrimage. The importance of holy places is due to the presence there of such pure devotees. Text 64. Se bhakta ganaha dibbitha pakara parishad ganaika sadaka gana ara. Such pure devotees are of two types: personal associates, parishats, and neophyte devotees, sadhakas. Purport. Perfect servitors of the Lord are considered his personal associates, whereas devotees endeavoring to attain perfection are called neophytes. Personal associates, parishats, and neophyte devotees, sadhakas. Among the associates, some are attracted by the opulences of the personality of Godhead, and others are attracted by nuptial love of Godhead. The former devotees are placed in the realm of Vaikuntha to render reverential devotional service, whereas the latter devotees are placed in Vrindavan for the direct service of Sri Krishna. Text 65 and text 66. Ishvavera avatara etina prakara amsha avatara araguna avatara shaktyavesh avatara tritiya emata amsha avatara purusha matsyadikayata. Translation. There are three categories of incarnations of Godhead: partial incarnations, qualitative incarnations, and empowered incarnations. The Purushas and Matsya are examples of partial incarnations. Text 67. Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, Tinagur, Navattarigani, Shakti Avesha, Sanakadi, Pitu, Vyasamuni. Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva are qualitative incarnations. Empowered incarnations are those like the Kumaras, King Prithu, and Mahamuni Vyasa, the compiler of the Vedas. So, partial incarnations are the Purushas and Matsya. Qualitative incarnations are Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. And empowered incarnations are those like the Kumaras, Kimprithu, and Mahamuni Vyasa, the compiler of the Vedas. And those three are the categories of incarnations of Godhead: partial incarnations, qualitative incarnations, and empowered incarnations. Text 68. Dvirupeyaya Bhagavanira Prakasha Eketa Prakashahaya Areta Vilasa. The personality of Godhead exhibits himself in two kinds of forms: Prakasha and Vilasa. Purport. The Supreme Lord expands his personal forms in two primary categories. The Prakasha forms are manifested by Lord Krishna for his pastimes, and their features are exactly like his. When Lord Krishna married 16,000 queens in Dwarka, he did so in 16,000 Prakasha expansions. Similarly, during the Rasa dance, he expanded himself in identical Prakasha forms to dance beside each and every gopi simultaneously. When the Lord manifests his Vilasa expansions, however, they are all somewhat different in their bodily features. Lord Balaram is the first Vilasa expansion of Lord Krishna, and the 400 Narayan forms in Vaikuntha expand from Balaram. There is no difference between the bodily forms of Sri Krishna and Balaram except that their bodily colors are different. Similarly, Sri Narayan in Vaikuntha has 4 hands, whereas Krishna has only 2. The expansions of the Lord who manifest such bodily differences are known as Vilasha Vigrahas. Texts 69 and 70. Ekai Vigraha Yadiyaha Bahurupa Akarita Beda Nai Eka Isvarupa Mahishi Vibahe Yaiche Kaila Rasa Ihake Kaihe Krishnera Mukhya Prakasha. Translation. When the personality of Godhead expands himself in many forms, all non-different in their features, as Lord Krishna did when he married 16,000 queens and when he performed his rasa dance, such forms of the Lord are called manifested forms, prakasha vigrahas. Text 71. Shitram bataitat dekena bapusha yugapat pritak Greshu ashta sahasram striya eka udabahat. Translation. It is outstanding that Lord Sri Krishna, who is one without a second, expanded himself in 16,000 similar forms to marry 16,000 queens in their respective homes. Purport. These verses from Srimad Bhagavatam. Rasot Sabaha Sampravarto Gopimandala Manditaha Yoges Varena Krishnena Tasan Madit Bayor Bayoho. Translation. When Lord Krishna, surrounded by groups of cowherd girls, began the festivities of the rasa dance, the Lord of all mystic powers placed himself between each 2 girls. Text 73 and text 74. Pravishtena gritanam kantesva nikatam striyaha yanmanjiran avastavat vimana shata sankulam dibaukusham sasdaranam atiyautsukya virtat manam tato dundubayod nedur nipetu pushpa vrishtayaha. Translation. When the cowherd girls and Krishna thus joined together, each girl thought that Krishna was dearly embracing her alone. To behold this wonderful pastime of the Lord's, the denizens of heaven and their wives, all very eager to see the dance, flew in the sky in their hundreds of airplanes. They showered flowers and beat sweetly on drums. And Srila Prabhupada says that this is another quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam. The past 3 texts that we have read, they have been quotations from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Now text 75. Anikatra prakatata rupasya ikasya yaikada savarta tatsvarupaiva saprakasha itiryate. Translation. If numerous forms, all equal in their features, are displayed simultaneously, such forms are called prakasha vigrahas of the Lord. So what is a prakasha vigrahas of the Lord? According to the Lagu Bhagavatamrita compiled by Srila Rupa Goswami, is the numerous forms, all equal in their features, displayed simultaneously. Those are Prakasha Vigrahas. Numerous forms, all equal in their features, displayed simultaneously. This is the quotation from the Lagu Bhagavatamrita compiled by Srila Rupa Goswami. Text 76. Ekai vigraha kintu vakare ahayanna aneka prakasha haya vilasha tara nama. Translation. But when the numerous forms are slightly different from one another, they are called vilasha vigrahas. Text 77. Svarupam anyakaram yat tasyabatit vilasataha prayinatma samam saktya savilasho nigadyate. Translation. When the Lord displays numerous forms with different features by His inconceivable potency, such forms are called vilasha vigrahas. Purport. This is another quotation from the Lagu Bhagavatamrita. Text 78. Yaiche Baladeva Parabhyume Narayana Yaiche Vasudeva Pradyumnadi Sankarshana. Translation. Examples of such vilasha vigrahas are Baladeva, Narayan in Vaikuntadam, and the Chaturvyuha Vasudeva, Sankarshana, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. Texts 79 and 80. Ishvarera Shaktaya etinna prakara ekalashmi gana pure mahishi gana ara brajegopi gana ara shavate prana pradana brajendra nandana yate svayam bhagavam. Translation. The energies, in parentheses, consorts, of the Supreme Lord are of three kinds. The Lakshmis in Vaikuntha, the queens of Indwarka, and the Gopis in Vrindavan. The Gopis are the best of all, for they have the privilege of serving Sri Krishna, the primeval Lord, the son of the King of Braja. Text 81. The personal associates of the primeval Lord, Sri Krishna, are His devotees, who are identical with Him. He is complete with His entourage of devotees. Purport. Sri Krishna and His various personal expansions are non-different in potential power. These expansions are associated with further secondary expansions or servitor expansions, who are called devotees. I'm going to read the purport again. Sri Krishna and His various personal expansions are non-different in potential power. These expansions are associated with further secondary expansions or servitor expansions, who are called devotees. Text 82. Bhakta adi krame kaila savara bandhana e savara bandhana sarva shuvera karana. Translation. Now I have worshipped all the various levels of devotees. Worshipping them is the source of all good fortune. Bhakta adi krame kaila savara bandhana e savara bandhana sarva shuvera karana. Now I have worshipped all the various levels of devotees. Worshipping them is the source of all good fortune. Purport. They offer prayers to the Lord. One should first offer to his devotees and associates. To offer prayers to the Lord, one should first offer prayers to his devotees and associates. Text 83. Pratama shloki kahi samanya mangalak charanna Dvitiya Shlokete Kari Vishesha Bandhana. Vishesha Bandhana. In the first verse, I have invoked a general benediction, but in the second, I have prayed to the Lord in a particular form. I do remember that Srila Kadidi mentioned before starting reading Volume 1, Adi Lila, Charitamrta, that Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj is giving 14 verses, and then this entire volume is about illuminating on these 14 verses. So the first verse, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj has invoked a general benediction of the Lord. And he was quoting Brahma Samhita and other verses. But now, in this second verse, he has prayed to the Lord in a particular form. Let's continue. Text 84. Bande Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityanandau Sahoditau Gaudodaye Pushpavantau Shitrau Shandau Tamonudau. Translation. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Sri Krishna Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, who are like the sun and moon. They have arisen simultaneously on the horizon of Gauda to dissipate the darkness of ignorance and thus wonderfully bestow benediction upon all. Texts 85 and 86. Braje je bihare purve Krishna balarama koti shurya chandra jini donhara nijadama seidui jagatere haya sadaya gauda deshe purva shaile karila udaya. Translation. Sri Krishna and Balaram, the personalities of Godhead, who formerly appeared in Vrindavan and were millions of times more effulgent than the sun and moon, have arisen over the eastern horizon of Gaudadesha, West Bengal, being compassionate for the fallen state of the world. Text 87. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Ara Prabhu Nityananda Janhara Prakashe Sarva Jagat Ananda. Translation. The appearance of Sri Krishna Chaitanya and Prabhu Nityananda has surcharged the world with happiness. Text 88 and text 89. Surya Chandra Hare Yaiche Saba Andakara Vastu Prakashiya Kare Dharmera Prachara. Translation. As the sun and moon drive away darkness by their appearance and reveal the nature of everything, these two brothers dissipate the darkness of ignorance, covering the living beings and enlighten them with knowledge of the absolute truth. Text 90. Ajnana tamira nama kahiye kaitava. Dharma artha kama moksha bancha adisava. Translation. The darkness of ignorance is called kaitava, the way of cheating, which begins with religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation. Ajnana tamira nama kahiye kaitava. Dharma artha kama moksha bancha adisava. The darkness of ignorance is called kaitava, the way of cheating, which begins with religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation. Text 91. Dharma projita kaitavo traparamo nirmat saranam satam vedyam vastavam atravastu shivadam tapa trayon mulanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Kirte Kimba Parair Ishvaraha Sadhyo irdi abharudyate trakirtibi shusrushubis tatsanat. Translation. The great scripture, Srimad Bhagavatam, compiled by Mahamuni Vyasadeva from our original... I'm going to start over. And this is going to be the last verse that we're going to read from Charitamrta today. Translation. The great scripture, Srimad Bhagavatam, compiled by Mahamuni Vyasadeva from 4 original verses, describes the most elevated and kind-hearted devotees and completely rejects the cheating ways of materially motivated religiosity. It propounds the highest principle of eternal religion, which can factually mitigate the threefold miseries of a living being and award the highest benediction of full prosperity and knowledge. Those willing to hear the message of this scripture in a submissive attitude of service can at once capture the Supreme Lord in their hearts. Therefore, there is no need for any scripture other than Srimad Bhagavatam. Wow. And after this, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada is giving a 3 pages long purport. Do you want to read the purport?
Yeah. Read
the text again.
Yeah, it's got 3 pages of purport. It must be a pretty serious text.
Yes.
Pretty important text.
It might be a pretty important text, Damodar Prabhu is saying. Okay, we're going to read the translation once again. And let's read the purport tomorrow, actually.
Okay.
The great scripture Srimad Bhagavatam, compiled by Mahamuni Vyasadeva from 4 original verses, describes the most elevated and kind-hearted devotees and completely rejects the cheating ways of materially motivated religiosity. It propounds the highest principle of eternal religion, which can factually mitigate the threefold miseries of a living being and award the highest benediction of full prosperity and knowledge. Those willing to hear the message of this scripture in a submissive attitude of service can at once capture the Supreme Lord in their hearts. Therefore, there is no need for any scripture other than Srimad Bhagavatam. It sounds like a pretty intense and important verse. Verse 91 of the Adi Lila Volume 1. And we're going to read the purport given by Srila Prabhupada the day of tomorrow. Jai Shri Chaitanya Charitamrta ki Jai. Jai Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj ki Jai. Jai Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai. Let's continue to worship these scriptures given by your Guru Varga. And as we read the translation in the Chaitanya Charitamrta, a submissive mood in service is super important. Maybe that's something that we can pray for. Some submissive mood. Some service mood. Jai Centenary Anthology. The pastimes, glories, and teachings of His Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Raka Srila Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. I have felt inspired to read this compilation of the talks of His Divine Grace Srila Guru Maharaj, because 2 Sundays ago, Rai Kishori Didi read chapter 4 in the Sunday program here. Right after we chanted to me Ishvareshvara. My apologies if I'm not remembering the name of this bhajan, but she grabbed this book and started reading it to all of us, because that bhajan that we chanted reminded her of chapter 4, which is hearing to see. And after hearing through her voice the illuminations of Srila Guru Maharaj, I just felt inspired to read this Centenary Anthology. So I hope it's useful for you, dear devotees. I hope you like it. And let's see what Srila Guru Maharaj decides to reveal to us. So Jai, Srila Bhakti-Raka Shiradev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. And let's start by the very beginning. All glories to His Divine Grace, Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Thakur Srila Bhakti-Raka Shiradev Goswami Maharaj, the most illustrious follower of our Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and who is ever given the unlimited mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to the fallen souls. He has appeared as our most divine guardian. He is ever radiant in His mercy and resplendent like the morning sun. He is illuminating the most hidden recesses of our hearts. Forward, the exclusive line of Srila Saraswati Thakur, by His Holiness Shripad Bhaktipavan Janardhan Maharaj, formerly printed in the form of a centenary Shri Vyasa Puja offering. Srila Guru Maharaj's conclusions embody the full Siddhanta of the line of Srila Rupa Goswami, and his beautiful poetic style shines with the most sublime Ujjvala Rasa revealed by Sri Gauranga to his true followers. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has glorified the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya as an effulgent locket adorns a necklace. So Mahaprabhu appeared in the Sampradaya began by Brahma, by Lord Brahma. Krishna Hoite Chaturmukha. There are, of course, 4 Sampradayas. One has begun by Brahma, one by the Kumaras, one by Lakshmi, and one by Lord Shiva. Their preceptorial lines are continuing, and their followers present the conclusions of such stalwarts in their respective Sampradayas as Ramanuja, Madhavacharya, Vishnu Swami, and Nimbarkacharya. So there are 4 Sampradayas since the beginning of creation. The Sampradaya of Brahma, the Sampradaya of the Kumaras, the Sampradaya of Lakshmi, and the Sampradaya of Lord Shiva. Still, in the words of Srila Guru Maharaj, Erupa Arati Brahma Shambho Agochara, Gaura Bhakta Kripa Patra Matra Siddhisara. The divine worship of Mahaprabhu is beyond the vision of even Lord Brahma or Lord Shiva. Only by receiving the mercy of a devotee of Lord Gauranga, one can attain such perfection. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. But what he came to give is beyond the vision of the preceptor of the Sampradaya, Lord Brahma himself. It is also beyond the purview of Lord Shiva. Both are Mahajans and recognized devotees. Still, they are unable to participate in exclusive devotion given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and known to his internal devotees such as Srila Guru Maharaj. Rather, they ever pray to have bestowed upon them the mercy of Mahaprabhu's true followers, so they may continue the progressive development of their devotion. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is actually situated in his own internal sampradaya. Although apparently appearing within the Brahma Madhava Gaudiya Sampradaya, Madhavendra Puri Svara Sisavara Sri Svara, who preceded Mahaprabhu and showed the deep Mahabhava mood of separation of Srimati Radharani, was Sri Madhavendra Puri. In the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrta, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj progressively describes the deep mood of Srila Madhavendra Puripad expressed in the verse. Aidina dayadra nata he, matura nata kadabalokshyase. I'm going to read it again. Aidina dayadra nata he, matura nata kadabalokyase. O my Lord, O most merciful Master, O Master of Mathura, when shall I see you again? There it is noted that actually this verse was spoken by Srimati Radharani herself, and by her mercy only was it manifest in the words of Madhavendra Puri. Only Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has tasted the poetry of this verse. No fourth person is capable of understanding it. Srila Madhavendra Puri's effulgence of Krishna Prema showed in the original sprout form the glory of Mahaprabhu Sampradaya. Although he was formally situated in the Brahma Madhava Gaudiya Sampradaya, prior to his appearance, there was no one in that line who displayed the deep love of Godhead, the mood of Krishna Prema of Madhavendra Puri. His disciple was the most fortunate Sri Ishvara Puri, who was accepted as the preceptor of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When Mahaprabhu visited the place of the appearance of Lord Krishna in Mathura and was dancing before the deity of Sri Keshava, an elderly Brahmana began to also dance in ecstatic love Krishna Prema along with the Lord. Later, Mahaprabhu asked that Brahmana where he had acquired such love. The elderly Brahmana replied that he had a connection with Srila Madhavendra Puri, who had visited his house and accepted him as a disciple. He also told Mahaprabhu himself, Kintu tomara premadeki mane anumani, Madhavendra Purira sambandha dara jani, Krishna premataha jaha tahara sambandha, taha binai pramara kaha nahi ganda. Upon seeing your ecstatic love, I can just imagine that you must have some relationship with Madhavendra Puri. This is my understanding. This kind of ecstatic love can be experienced only by one who has a relationship with Madhavendra Puri. Without him, even a scent of such transcendental ecstatic love is impossible. Without a connection with Sri Madhavendra Puri, such love of Godhead is not possible. I find it really interesting that before the appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there was another devotee that was expressing this mood of separation, and this is Srila Madhavendra Puri. Srila Guru Maharaj has always said that we are not worshippers of form, but of substance. There is a qualitative presence that is expressed in the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrta. We are not interested in mere general expressions like the Guru Parampara, but we are interested in the living line of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Sampradaya, which is manifested in the hearts of the most qualified representatives of the Lord. Just as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is much more than the Yuga avatar, being the most sublime combination of Rasaraj. Jaya Mahaprabhu. Just as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is much more than the Yuga avatar, being the most sublime combination of Rasaraj, Sri Krishna with the Mahababa, Srimati Radharani, similarly, there are personalities who embody the presence of Srimati Vrindapuri. In more recent times, that most divine presence again revealed itself in the person of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Srila Guru Maharaj composed his beautiful Srimad Bhaktivinoda Viraha Dashakam during the time when Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was personally present in this world. There, Srila Guru Maharaj reveals Shri Gaura Numatam Svarupa Viditam Rupagrajenanritam Rupadyai Paribe Shitam Ragu Ganair Ashvaditam Sevitam Jibadyair Abhirakshitam Shuka Shiva Brahmadi Samatinam Samanitam Sri Radha Pada Sevanamritam Ahotat Datum Ishobabam. That which is the gracious gift of Sri Gaurachandra, the deep internal purport of which is known by Sri Svarup Damodar, that which is adored by Sri Sanatana Goswami and distributed by the Rasa Tattvacharyas headed by Sri Rupa Goswami, that which is tasted and enriched by Sri Raghunath Das Goswami and followers, and tenderly protected by Sri Jiva Goswami and his associates, and that which is venerated from afar by the great personalities like Mahadev, Lord of the Gods, and Brahma, Grandfather of the world. O wonder of wonders, that ecstatic nectar of the exclusive service of the lotus feet of Sri Radha, you hold the perfect position to mercifully give even that to us. This is a verse composed by Srila Guru Maharaj during the time when Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was personally present in this world. When Srila Guru Maharaj began to present his composition glorifying Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur before Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, at first Srila Saraswati Thakur listened in a very scrutinizing way to the initial verses. But as Srila Guru Maharaj continued in his presentation, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur became immensely pleased and appreciative, and commented that he was confident and satisfied that at least one of his followers was qualified to continue and properly represent his Siddhanta and the essence of Mahaprabhu's line. Srila Guru Maharaj has eternally glorified the quality of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur in his many beautiful compositions, such as Sri Sri Prabhupada Padma I'm gonna go again. Srila Guru Maharaj has eternally glorified the quality of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur in his many beautiful compositions, such as Sri Sri Prabhupada Padma Estabakaha, which to this day is sung in temples all over the world by the followers of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada. Srila Guru Maharaj has given us the beautiful pranam verse in glorification of his spiritual master, which Srila Guru Maharaj himself has explained. Nikila Bhubana Maya China Bichina Kartri Bibuddha Bahula Mugya Mukti Mohanta Datri. Shitilita Vidi Ragaradya Radesha Dani Vilasato Hirdi Nityam Bhaktisiddhanta Bani. With his first step, he vigorously cut asunder the whole plane of exploitation. And with his second, he has put a stop to all the calculations of the different scholars with their different conceptions of salvation or liberated stages. With his third step, he has minimized the hardness and stiffness of the rules and regulations of calculative devotional service by the touch of divine love crossing Vaikuntha. He has given us the worship of Radha and Govinda. Calculation, the rules and regulations, awe, reverence, all these things are minimized, checked, slackened with the softness of Vrindavan within. And with the hardness of the devastator without, he created havoc in the materialistic world, fighting with one and all, single-handedly fighting against the whole world and cutting asunder everything. That was his external attitude. And his second attitude was to put a stop to all scholarly researches and doctorates of different departments, and to stop their boasting research. And third, to minimize, to slacken the grandeur of the worship of Narayan. He caused, meaning Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, he caused the domain of love to descend into this plane with love from the heart as all in all. With that, we come to serve our object of worship. And he represented the service of Radha Govinda as the highest attainment. That was his story. That was his history. The real existence of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada is in Bhaktisiddhanta Bani, his divine teachings. May that Bhaktisiddhanta Bani thus dance internally within the core of your heart. When Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was leaving this world, he called for Srila Guru Maharaj. In a gathering of his disciples, he asked Srila Guru Maharaj to sing Sri Rupa Manjari Pada. Previously, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur had examined Srila Guru Maharaj. Oh, my bad. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur has examined Srila Guru Maharaj and was satisfied that he could represent the essential line of Sri Gaurachandra, given by his true representative and follower, Srila Rupa Goswami. Now, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur gave the charge of that line to Srila Guru Maharaj in a way that many senior godbrothers present, described as a mystic transmission of responsibility. And Srileka Didi has told this story many times in the past, that in his later days, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he was sick, and he was laying down in bed, and he requested Srila Guru Maharaj to chant Srila Rupa Manjari. Wait, what was the name of this bhajan that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur requested Srila Guru Maharaj to chant? I lost it. We just read it. Okay. He asked Srila Guru Maharaj to sing Sri Rupa Manjari Pada. And Srileka Didi told us that Srila Guru Maharaj had this very humble personality, that when he was requested to chant Sri Rupa Manjaripada, he got really shy to chant it. And another devotee with a beautiful voice, which by the way, Srila Guru Maharaj, they have the most beautiful voice, is superficially speaking. So once this other devotee with a beautiful voice started chanting, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada said, "No, I don't want to hear the tune. I want Srila Guru Maharaj to chant this song." So in that moment is when everybody knew who will continue with the line of Srila Rupa Goswami, the line of Gaurachandra Mahaprabhu. So here is what we read, that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur gave the charge of that line to Srila Guru Maharaj in a way that many senior godbrothers present described as a mystic transmission of responsibility. Very beautiful. So we're going to continue tomorrow reading the foreword given by Sripad Bhaktipavan Janardhan Maharaj, the exclusive line of Srila Saraswati Thakur. And we will continue reading both Chaitanya Charitamrta, Adi Lila Volume 1 tomorrow, and Centenary Anthology. Very beautiful. Jai, Centenary Anthology, Ki Jai, Jai His Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Srila Dev Goswami Maharaj, Ki Jai. Dandavat Krishna Prabhu. Hari Haraye Namah Krishna Yadavaya Namaha Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha Gopal Govindara Shimadusudana Giridhari Gopinata Madana Mohana Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Rupa Sanatana Vata Raghunata Shri Vagopala Vata Rasa Raghunata Echai Gosai Kori Charana Vandana Jaute Vignana Shavista Purana Echai Gosai Jaramui Tarada Sata Savara Padarenu Mora Panchagrasa Tadira Charana Sevi Vaktasaneva Janame Mora Avilasa Echai Gosai Jave Vraje Koilavasa Shishirasa Krishna Nitya Lila Korila Prakasha Anande Volohari Vajavrindavana Shri Guru Vaishnava Pare Majai Jamana Shri Guru Vaishnava Para Padma Koriyasha Hari Nama Sankirtana Kohe Narottama Rasa Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva. Jaya Gaura Sundar, Jaya Gaura Sundar, Jaya Gaura Sundar, Jaya Gaura Sundar. Jaya Gaura Sundar, Jaya Gaura Sundar, Jaya Gaura Sundar, Jaya Gaura Sundar. Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo, Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo. Jai Om Vishnupada Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupada Srila Bhakti Raka Srila Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupada Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Shri Rupa Guru Govarga Ki Jai. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sarasi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Ki Jai. Jai Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mission Ki Jai. Jai Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Ma Ki Jai. Jai Shri Shri Guru Chandragira Shri Ki Jai. Jai Kol Kartos Ki Jai. Jai Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Jai Morning Readings Ki Jai. Jai Salt City devotees flying to Thailand to associate with the devotees, worldwide devotees in Govinda and Sri Govinda Farm Ki Jai. Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Oh, Jai Shrimati Tulasi Devi Ki Jai. Dandavat, dear devotees, have a meaningful day, a glorious day. Harivo.